Hi parent volunteers, it's Erin or Miss Quarterman, and I wanted to do a little shelving tutorial really quickly for everyone. I will show you where the books are first. I think that's important. So when you come in to the library through this door, you will see the circulation desk here, and you'll see some book carts right there. So these book carts are books that have been recently returned, or children looked at them and decided they didn't want them. So rather than have them put them back on the shelf in the wrong spot, we asked them to put them on these carts. There are also a couple of carts back here. One is holds, so you don't have to worry about that. And the other is primarily middle school, which is kind of its own advanced shelving tutorial. But if you ever have questions, if it looks like there's more books on that and you want to ask us, feel free. A little video tour of the library. This section over here is our nonfiction section. So it kind of goes, and we've got it labeled, it wraps around the back wall and then kind of makes a snake back and forth in between the shelves around here, over to this side, and around this side. It's a lot of background noise, sorry. And then back at the end, the last one is our Spanish books. Those all start with SP, and there's technically a sign here, so you know. This section here with the little bins, these are our series books. It's on both sides of this middle shelf. I will probably do my best to keep those shelved for you. They are not as clearly labeled as I would like, so that could even be a project throughout the school year. On the back wall, you can see the signs that start with an F. So those are all our fiction books. They go all the way along the back wall and then wrap around to this final shelf unit. S is on the side closest to that, and then it wraps around to Z. And then our graphic novels, which are designated by a purple sticker, even though they have a number on them. It's always pretty much the same number, 741.5, and then they have the purple sticker. So that's what those look like. They're a little bit messy, but not as bad as I would have thought. All right, and last but not least, we have our E for Everyone books, or our picture books. They all start with an E at the top. Some of them might still say ER, but these are our picture books, and they are also in order by the author's last name, just by the first 3 letters. All right, so quick and easy shelving tutorial for books that start with an E. We often try to do a rough sort, so you might see most of the books on these shelves start with an E. We might have made some mistakes in sorting, but that's okay. And then you may also see some books that have a green sticker or that say ER, and those will just go in the same order by author's last name. So I did the first few already. You can see E, HOL, HOW, Pin, THO. So M, McDonald, I'm gonna move you in between my H and my P. And I like to do this before I take them over to shelve them so that I spend less time walking. It's kind of up to you. But otherwise I'm just putting them in order. And if you are ever unsure about if you feel comfortable putting books on the shelf, you can always put the books in order on the cart. And just to show you, fiction is the same exact thing. If it has punctuation, we're slowly trying to get rid of that. Just ignore it. So this would be DLA when we put it on the shelf, for instance. Also to let you know, some of the fiction books right now start with the letters PB for paperback. That's another thing we are working to get rid of. So for now, you can just shelve them by the author's last name, and we'll know where to find them. Okay, and now our nonfiction books are our Dewey Decimal books, and I will do my best to show you this with one hand. But for instance, the number that is a whole number, the number before the decimal point, is always treated, like I said, like a whole number. So this would be 921. And then at the bottom, we use the first 3 letters of the author's last name, or in this case, because 921s are biographies, this is the first 3 letters of the subject's last name. So this is Jane Goodall, 921 GOO. Then I have, sorry, after school classes just got out. It's very noisy. Some books that actually have a decimal point. So that decimal point is always going to be treated as a decimal number. So for instance, if I had a book that was 975.265, that one will always come earlier on the shelf than 975.3 because that number is smaller than the 3. So I hope that makes sense. Feel free to ask for clarification at any point, and we will be happy to help you. So after we do by number, so these are all 975.3s. We'll put them in order by the author's last name. So you can see BOU, then GRA, then UNI. And once you kind of put those in order, then they can go on the shelf. And I'll just say, our nonfiction shelves often get a lot of use. Sometimes people put books on the top shelf, sometimes they get put in backwards. So you might need to do some what we call shelf reading. You can kind of see it happening on the back wall over there. And that is just as you shelf, making sure things are going in the right order. So also when we shelve, and this is true for our fiction books as well, that we always start on the left and go across until we hit a divider, and then drop down to the bottom and go across until we hit the divider, and then we go up and across. Where we can get into trouble is places where, like here, where it ends with 939. So you might have a book that is 973. Well, of course, 973 comes after 939. So you might put it here instead of realizing that actually 940 is over here. So your number is going to come over into one of these shelves. So it's always just double checking that so that we don't kind of cascade some books being out of order. And one more thing in addition to how checking that books are wrapping correctly from one shelf up to another is if a shelf is full, there's a couple things to do. One is you can move some of the books on the left up to the top on the right. Sometimes it takes a little bit of shifting. You might have to do a couple shelves until you find some place that has some space. You can also move some books from the end up to the next part of the shelf. So that will help us stay in order and keep everything looking nice and neat. All right, I think that is everything for the kind of basic main library tutorial. I'll do a super quick middle school one, and yeah. If you have any questions while you're shelving, feel free to ask either myself or Alpha, Dr. DeLapp, and we are happy to answer your questions.